Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Stay Out of the Attic. Left a word out there. Feel like they left a word out on Shudder where I went to stream this. Still on IMDb, still on the poster, but that little emphasis doesn't make this movie any better. And this is from director Jerren Lauder, and this focuses on a group of 3 ex-cons who are part of a moving company together and show up to this older German gentleman's house who is not a Nazi. Definitely not a Nazi. And it's one of those kinds of things where this movie is just like, there are so many red flags. And the fact that they offered you $1,000 extra should have been the biggest of flags. Because you shouldn't have taken this job. But we're going to get past that so we can actually talk about the film because, you know, it's one of those moments where it's like, no, we're good. Credits roll because there's no movie. But you have Ryan Francis, who plays Albert, a former Nazi himself, who's in prison, a reformed Nazi now. Morgan Alexandria, who plays Amani, a former crook. And Bryce Fernelius, who is Carlos, who's a former drug addict. And the film sets them up. They all have these backstories. It causes tension between them. There's some interesting and potential conflict that they set up here. And then they have just this like creepy old German guy who's definitely a mad scientist. You could see that coming a mile away. So you have this setup. And of course things start going wrong. The film is creepy and the music is creepy, the look to it's creepy, the makeup and prosthetics and the effects are pretty solid for a low-budget film. You can see the low budget in some of the probably audio quality. There's definitely some audio quality issues at times where like you could tell like the sound in the scene cuts out but the music stays, but definitely wasn't on purpose, or if they were going for something, it doesn't work. So you can definitely see some of those shortcomings there. But then this film just starts spiraling into creepy creatures and a ridiculous amount of fake deaths. It's such a cheap narrative trick, and they tip their hand like 50 different times in this movie. It just gets overly frustrating. And honestly, the film gets a little too grotesque and too mean-spirited in terms of what it's trying to do. And it really loses focus. And it's trying to say something about Nazis, and then all logic goes out the window, and the fake science they're trying to talk about, all leading up to one of the most obnoxious sequel, like, shots at the end of a movie, where you're just like, oh, come on. And where it's like, there's some resolution to the main story, but they just completely left it open where it's just like, we want to make a sequel. And it's not even that compelling. It's just like, it's definitely going to turn into something that we've seen before. And where it's like, they had so much potential here in with the characters, but honestly they just forget about the characters a lot, and there's large like pieces of time where the pace really lags for an hour and 22-minute film, and he kind of just loses you, and things feel drawn out, characters feel forgotten and then like whisked back over to there. How they edit the film and the scenes together is not very effective in terms of balancing like, hey, here we go from this to this to this to this. And in the end, this just turns into a sloppy, just overly gory, overly just demented mess of a movie. And I didn't really feel like I got a whole lot out of it by the time the credits started rolling with its really obnoxious heavy metal rock music and even more obnoxious sequel tease. So, this is definitely, like, Shudder has so much quality on there. Don't think this is one to go out of your way to go check out. But those are my thoughts on stay out of the attic. Let me know what you think. Let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.